Welcome to Mysteries, Myths, and Legends. I'm Taylor.
I'm Savanah.
And welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm just going to repeat what Taylor said.
Yes, as you should. And, most importantly, welcome to episode 69 of Mysteries, Myths, and Legends. What an iconic number for us to be on today. And it's going to be a good episode, so...
Yeah, I can tell.
Me too. Great vibes from the start. So if you're alive in this time period, like this past week, you probably know that we're in a heat wave. Like I mentioned it, last week. I was like, it's coming.
Yep.
But bro, have you felt it?
Yeah, definitely.
I think I melted halfway.
I feel like I'm feeling it right now and I'm inside with air conditioning on.
Literally. Well, my air conditioning is off as per usual. So it'll probably be hot by the end, but it's okay. It's like way less hot today than it has been the other days. But guys, literally at one point it felt like 112 degrees here.
Oh God.
It was like 97, but felt like 112. Like that's bad.
Yeah.
Like that's bad. So, just been melting in my life.
Yeah, I mean, same. I drive home every day and my car says outside temperature 100 degrees.
Yeah, no, literally.
It's
I'm like, bro, it's not even summer yet. Like that's
I know.
concerning.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's concerning. So yeah. That's great. So okay. I have one more thing to talk about and it's going to be maybe controversial. So,
Okay.
Last night, I went with some friends to see the new Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Dominion, I think it's called. I don't even know. The third Jurassic Park World movie.
Okay.
I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Guys, that was literally... And I am such an advocate for movies and TV shows. I give you my recommendations weekly at this point. And this was the worst movie I have ever seen in theaters.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding. And I'm not a harsh critic. Like I love even horrible movies. Like I love horrible movies. This movie, like I rated it like to be nice a 4 out of 10, but it deserves less.
Okay. Well,
And
it kind of makes me want to see it just to see like if I hate it as much as you.
Yeah, you should see it, but you should not pay the like theater fee.
Oh,
like I
yeah.
totally wasted $20.
Yeah.
Like that's what's sad to me. So yeah. And it was also another horrible experience because I bought, like my favorite thing to do when I go to a movie is to buy like a Coke Icy.
Yes. I got one last time I was at the theater.
See, it's just the best experience. And so I always get so excited, and we were so excited to get our Coke slushies. And I go up there, I pay for it, and he goes to get it, and he was like, oh, we're out of Coke slushies. And I was like, oh. I was like, okay, bruh. But that's fine. I was like, no, it's fine. Can I have cherry? So then he gets a new cup, because, like, a little bit came out of the Coke.
Yeah.
He gets a new cup, starts filling up the cherry, and only it, like, squirts out, and then it doesn't come out anymore. And he was like, oh, looks like we just ran out of cherry. The only other, and I had already paid for this, okay? Like, it wasn't like I could have, like, got a refund, but, that's complicated. And we were running late to the movie. So the only other option for Icy was Mountain Dew. I don't even like Mountain Dew.
Oh my God, they have Mountain Dew ones? What?
Yeah, and
I thought you were gonna say blue, like the blue raspberry. But
yeah, I know. No, they had Mountain Dew, and I don't even like Mountain Dew, the drink. But I was like, I guess I'll take Mountain Dew because I don't have another choice. And then that one was also he filled the cup and it was fine. He handed it to me, but it was like so out of power that I was basically just drinking watered down like Sprite is what it tasted like.
Oh my God.
And then I couldn't even suck it out of the straw. And then I sat there for 3 hours and watched a horrible movie. So it was a horrible experience all around.
Yeah, that sounds pretty bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, go see it for yourself if you want to, if you don't believe me. But I promise you that it's not worth it.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
So,
I'm not gonna...
Movie review over, but it was really bad, like, to me. So, yeah. But, yes, also, if you would, please go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Oh, I do actually have another... It's just a recommendation.
Ooh.
Because I don't think we've talked about it. That show, First Kill.
Oh, yeah, I already finished it. Yeah, okay. First
Okay,
Kill
have
on
we
Netflix.
have we talked about it on here?
No, we definitely haven't.
Okay. Well, I think it's definitely our genre because it has to
Yes.
do with vampires and monsters.
Yes, monsters, legends.
And in the South, in Savannah, Georgia. So,
Yes, it's such a good show. It's like one of
hmm
those like kind of bad shows, but like that's really good, you know?
yeah. Yeah.
I
See, you were
love it.
just saying how you like bad ones.
No,
So,
I do. I love shows like that. Like
yeah.
the Riverdale vibe, but it's not nearly as bad as Riverdale. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like it's so good.
Yeah. It's sort of like supernatural vibes, but also not. I don't
Yeah.
know, because that show's sort of like that.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. Have you
But
finished it?
no, I have 2 episodes left.
Ooh, exciting.
So,
I already
but
finished
yeah,
it, so
wanted
I'm
to throw that
sad.
out there because we always put our random show recommendations on here. So,
Yes. Yes, go watch it. It's called First Kill on Netflix. Not sponsored, but it should be. It should
yeah,
be.
honestly, we should.
And we should not be sponsored by Jurassic World Dominion.
No.
Sorry. We're never getting a call from them.
No.
So, sorry about that. Savannah and Savannah only.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's all the intro topics I have for today.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get into mine then. So, I have something for the people who are also obsessed with Our Flag Means Death, like like we are.
So another TV show recommendation, if you're new here, is Our Flag Means Death on HBO. It's the best show in the world.
Yeah. It's really good. But anyways, this is sort of, I mean, it's definitely very much related to that show because this is the story of Steve Bonnet.
I love Steve Bonnet so much. I'm so excited for this.
So, if you've seen the show, he is the main character and he's actually a real life person and was a real life pirate.
Pirates.
So,
Love
I
'em.
was really wondering how close the show is to his real life, and it's surprisingly close.
I love that for them. I love when they're so like accurate, you know?
Yeah. Like his personality is probably different. I don't know. Didn't really learn much about that part, but like his life story, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess let's start it. So the story of Stede Bonnet, aka the Gentleman Pirate.
Gentleman pirate.
He was born in 1688 in Barbados, and his parents actually owned a plantation, and he grew up very wealthy and educated.
Mm-hmm.
And he married Mary Allenby in 1709, which I think is her name on the show too.
Yeah, it is. It is.
In 1709, and she had a large dowry, so, you know, even more money.
Rich, yes.
So he was wealthy. He had a family. They ended up having 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
And he inherited the plantation from his parents when they died, and he owned land. So, like, he seemed to have everything, like,
Yeah.
you
The perfect American life.
yeah, a pretty good life. Well,
For
I
the
don't know if he's
time.
American, but
Yeah. Oh, well, I just meant like the American dream type situation.
yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah. So yeah, he seemed like he had everything, but he left this life to become a pirate in 1717.
Not everything is always as it seems.
Yeah, I guess so. So he did not know how to sail, how to navigate, or like anything about pirating, really.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was the golden age of piracy. So like he's like, I need to do this.
Yeah, he was like, I mean, it's the time to be a pirate. Let's go out and do it.
Exactly. I guess it seemed fun to his real life, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it seems fun to me, so I get where he's coming from.
So most people would become pirates because they didn't have any other way to make money. But like obviously he had money.
Yeah, he was just doing purely in it for the fun.
But people like this made people question like, why are you doing this if
Yeah.
you don't need to? And some people say that he was bored and this is like the most extreme midlife crisis that anyone's ever seen.
Like, honestly, makes sense.
Yeah, could be. Or a lot of people say that he had like a mental illness, but I don't know. They're like, oh, he was not right in the head. But
Well,
I mean,
probably just because they think like he left his perfect life behind. You know.
yeah. But like, I don't know. Things aren't always what they seem.
Exactly. Exactly as I said.
So there is another quote. Some people say that he had some discomforts in a married state, which is also coincidentally, I think it's one of the names of the episodes in the show.
Oh wow, that's funny.
Discomforts in a married state, or like it's a
That's
quote in there.
that's funny.
Yeah. So anyways, they thought that was a reason, like he just needed to get away from his wife and kids. He's like, I don't need this.
Honestly, I feel him on that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I would want to get away from my children too.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Depends. But he also was shown, like, there's records of him borrowing money around, like, the start of the year. About 1,700 pounds. So maybe he didn't actually have as much money as he was shown to have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Maybe. I don't know. So now that we know he like ran away from his life, I'm gonna focus on his life as a pirate.
Okay.
So to begin his little life as a pirate, he actually had a ship built. Now this is weird because pirates usually steal their ships.
Yes.
So he had one built, which also leads me back to he probably did still have money. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, because like how else is he gonna afford to buy this? But he had one built. It had 10 cannons on it, and he called it the Revenge.
I love that name for the ship. Honestly, that's so iconic.
I know. Actually, in the articles I was reading, it said a lot of pirates would name their ship the Revenge.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. It's just a common name.
Yeah.
But
Basic.
Yeah. But it's still a good one. So.
Oh, it definitely is.
And he hired a crew of 70 to 80 men, and he paid them a salary, which was really weird.
Wow. Wait, why was that weird? Like,
because pirates would usually like only
like steal their money.
Yeah, they would steal, like, pirate another boat,
And just
and
like
then
whatever they got to keep.
they would like split it up between them. But Steed, he like literally paid them out of his pocket.
That's amazing, honestly. That's the company I'm trying to work for.
Yeah, really. Yeah, he's got benefits. You gotta go work for him.
You're right.
Yeah. So him and his crew, they began by like going up the coast of North America, and the first ships that they pirated were in Virginia. And then he went up to New York, and then they like turned around and went back down south. And his crew, by then they were like starting to realize he was a rookie and didn't really know.
Yeah, like at all, anything.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to be a pirate. And they're like, why is he doing this? So there were kind of talks of mutiny, I don't know. They were like thinking about it. And then they ended up in Nassau in the Bahamas, which was a pirate haven at the time.
A pirate haven. Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is sounding familiar to you.
Oh, it is.
The story.
Yes, it is.
So anyways, he went there and he actually ran into another guy there, Blackbeard.
We love Blackbeard.
Mm-hmm.
Go listen to our episode on Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Don't know which one it is, but you can find it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyways, he ran into Blackbeard and they got along pretty well. And Blackbeard was like, listen, Steed, let's start sailing together.
Wow.
So they ended up not really being co-captains because Blackbeard was sort of in charge, but they were like doing this together.
Yeah. How cute of them.
What'd you say?
I said, how cute of them. Just little besties running their little pirate life ship together.
Mm-hmm. I know. So now Steed's crew was like, okay, well, I guess since Blackbeard's here, we don't need to mutiny against him.
Yeah, they were like, now we have the strongest pirate, like the
Yeah,
most wild pirate.
exactly.
We're good.
See, that's why I'm also like surprised that he did this and didn't just like kill Steed and take over his ships if he was going to do that, you know?
Right. Yeah. That's really shocking because Blackbeard was like not nice.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
It's like is if that's all he wanted was his ships and his crew,
He
like
could have
just get rid of
easily
him.
taken it. So he liked Seed. Like
Yeah.
it was very obvious.
Mm-hmm. But also all the like the things that I was reading about this made it seem like Steed was like almost like a prisoner.
Oh.
But it's not really known if he was more because he was in like the writings and stuff like historical documents. It's shown that Steed was a guest on Blackbeard's ship.
Interesting.
So they say he was a guest, but some people take that as he was a prisoner.
Yeah.
So
So we don't really know.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're friends.
Yeah. Me too.
But I might be influenced a little bit
Yeah.
by this show. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, he was a guest on Blackbeard's ship, and then Blackbeard's lieutenant took command of Steed's ship, the Revenge. So they're all like sailing together, but now, you know, people have moved around.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up getting to North Carolina, and they have 4 ships and about 300 to 400 men between them.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually like sailed around like this for a little while, but Steed, he seemed like he wanted his ship back, but he couldn't get it unless Blackbeard surrendered it because he's like he's not going to just like fight him for it, you know?
Yeah, he would obviously lose.
Uh-huh. So he had to try to like get lucky and get it back somehow. So this leads us to in May of 1718, Blackbeard blockades Charleston, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't have any more on that, honestly. Okay, I thought I did. Okay, then he goes to Topsail Island in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And this was used as a hiding spot for pirates.
Topsail Island was?
Yeah.
What? Okay, I did not know that.
Sort of like Blind Man's Cove, maybe.
That's actually crazy. I've been to Topsail so many times, I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know either, but I know North Carolina, South Carolina, there's like so many pirate things around there. So they get there, and Blackbeard has another ship.
Ooh.
Because like his ships were like run aground.
What does
they
that
like
mean?
got stuck on land,
Oh,
I guess.
okay.
And they were like unsalvageable.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up getting. Wait, I think I'm confusing this. Let me back up a little bit. Let me back up.
Rewind the tapes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So one of Blackbeard's ships, called the Queen Anne's Revenge.
Yes.
So a different Revenge.
Yes.
That ran aground and was unsalvageable. And then Steve Bonnet and Blackbeard, they were caught by the governor of North Carolina, or like people caught them. But they ended up getting pardoned.
Oh wow!
From the governor, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember that from I didn't realize Steve Bonnet was a part of that. Because when I did the Blackbeard story, I also talked about him getting caught and then pardoned, but I didn't realize Steve was there too.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was just there by his side.
Wow, that's so wild.
Yeah. It's so crazy though, because like all the stories about Steve Bonnet have Blackbeard in them. Then Blackbeard's just like doesn't.
Not at all. Steve. Not at all.
Yeah.
Poor Steve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, poor him. It's probably because I was gonna say this at the end, but it's probably because Steed, like his pirate life, was only like 2 years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah. He doesn't have as much history with it, as
Yes.
Blackbeard does. So they get pardoned, and Blackbeard does whatever he was going to do. But Steve Bonnet, he was sent to go privateering against the Spanish. And do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, so privateering is attacking and capturing vessels, but it's like for the government, so it's legal.
Okay. Okay.
So it's basically being a pirate, but
Yeah,
for
a
the
legal
government.
pirate. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I guess it's like an act of war. They were like trying to attack the Spanish. I don't know. So anyway, he was like out doing that, and but before he did that, he had to go and collect some of his crew because Blackbeard had left some of Steed's crew and some of his own men on an island.
Wow.
He just left them for dead, basically.
That's mean.
Yeah. So anyway, Steed like goes and gets them, and then they go privateering. And his men and, you know, all the people who were left on that island, they were like, we hate Blackbeard now.
Yeah,
because he did
obviously.
this.
Obviously.
Yeah. So they sort of went after him, like tried to find him while also doing this like side gig. But then like they were like, we're kind of tired of working for the government, so it didn't really last that long.
Yeah.
They ended up turning into real pirates again.
That's funny.
Which, I mean, I could have predicted that. Like, why was that allowed?
Right.
You know? But anyways, during this phase, like, he ended up changing his name to Captain Thomas.
That's no good. I hate it.
You don't like that name?
No. Compared to Steve Bonnet.
Yeah, the gentleman pirate.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, he's Captain Thomas now. And the ship is now the Royal James.
That's ugly too.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. But it's kind of more like posh, though. You know,
Yeah,
Royal
it's definitely
James.
bougie.
Yeah. I mean, and that's his thing. He's kind of bougie. You know?
Yeah, he is.
So, spoiler alert, him and Blackbeard never see each other again.
No.
Yeah.
That
It's very
why?
sad. He went out to look for him, but they just never met up again.
Wow.
You know?
That's crazy. I mean, yeah, they didn't really have cell phones to just hit each other up, so
Yeah.
it does make sense,
Exactly.
but that's wild.
Yeah. And also, now that I'm looking at the dates, you know, I said they were in Topsail Island and, like, got caught and stuff in, like, May, June of 1718, right? And then they end up back over in North Carolina, actually in the Cape Fear River.
Oh, shout out. They right here in my backyard.
Yeah. They had the Battle of the Cape Fear River, actually. And that was in September of that same year.
Wow.
So that was didn't last too long.
No.
Yeah, that's a really short time. They were out for like, what, 2-3 months and then come back. They're like, we're gonna get caught again. Like,
Why did that kind of
Spoiler.
suck, Loki?
because he doesn't know what he's doing.
But I also feel like it's something that's like not that hard to learn. But also, I guess he was like trying to just be nice about it, and that's the thing. Pirates aren't nice.
I mean, I don't think he wasn't really nice though. Like, he was trying to be a mean pirate.
Well,
I
okay,
don't
that's
really
true.
have
So I
any
guess
that-
he was just like nice to his crew.
Yeah. And
But
he
still,
did
though.
actually, I should mention, he did stop giving them a salary after a while.
Oh,
Because he's like, okay, we'll just split the loot, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Just like any other pirate would do.
yeah. He learned his ropes a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, him and, like, I guess Blackbeard probably taught him some stuff.
Yeah, that's so true.
But yeah, and I'm sure, like, they did actually, like, pirate ships and, you know, kill people like pirates do.
Yeah.
Like, they did all that stuff, so it's not really,
Yeah,
you know.
I
But
mean,
I
yeah,
didn't
he's
really
not
detail
nice.
that.
but yeah.
I don't think it was probably as brutal as these other ones. I don't really know. I didn't, because like that's not the part that stood out in the stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
But maybe I just wasn't looking for it. I don't know. Someone probably proved me wrong. But okay, so the Battle of the Cape Fear River, shout out. In September, the ships, they got into the river, and then there were also like pirate hunters there too.
Oh.
And there were like 4 ships, so 2 on each side, I believe, and they all got immobilized.
Wow.
So I guess it was like too shallow of water or something.
Yeah, probably.
Or they were just blocking each other. I don't really know. And ultimately they lost, and Steve Bonnet and his crew were taken.
Yikes.
Yeah. And he actually did escape. In
Hey.
October, October 24th, he escapes, but he only gets away for 4 days.
Oh, man. He's really not good at this at all, is he?
Mm-mm. No, I know. He's really going through it. He's trying. Trying his best. And unfortunately, his men, they were hanged on November 8th, 1718. But Steed, he was also sentenced to be executed, but he tried so hard to get out of it. Like, he's not even...
I mean,
he tried.
I would hope that he tried hard to get out of it.
Yeah. He tried by, like, he blamed Blackbeard. He's like, he forced me into it. Like, he did it. He also... No. Yeah. He wrote letters to people to try to be like, okay, like, just let me out. Like, I'll be good. He got public attention, and he also got, like, people to feel sorry for him. Like, a lot of women were like, just let him go. He's fine.
Honestly, just let him go.
See? You're falling for it, too. He, tried to get another trial to, like, see if he could get out of it that way.
Yeah.
And he even, listen to this, he begged for his arms and legs to be cut off to prove that he would not be a pirate anymore.
Okay, that's literally very serious. So
it's so dramatic.
He's literally so dramatic, but did they do it?
No.
Well, I am glad they didn't do it.
Yeah, honestly, because that would have sucked.
That's like way worse.
In 1718, having your arms and legs cut off.
You're honestly not surviving that.
Like, right, you're gonna die. But yeah, so unfortunately, he did die, but his execution was moved 7 times.
I mean, you know what? He did his best.
Yeah, he really did do his best.
Wow.
In the end, he was still hanged on December 10th of 1718.
Wow. And where did you say that happened?
That was in South Carolina in Charleston.
That's crazy. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Steve Bonnet, that's where his trials were.
Wow.
Isn't that where Blackbeard's was too, or no?
No.
He was in England?
No, that was Captain Kidd,
Right.
in England. I think Blackbeard's were in North Carolina.
Okay.
But he definitely did get in trouble in South Carolina and Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
That man got in trouble everywhere, though, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so, I don't know. Steve Bonnet, he was just crazy. Like, I still don't get why he did it. I mean, but to each his own. Also, I do have a fun fact. He was known to make people walk the plank. And he was one of the few people who did that. Like, nobody actually did that, but he did it.
That's funny. I mean, he was like, if I'm going to be a pirate, I'm going to be the pirate. Like, the very, like, you know.
The classic.
Pirate. The OG pirate.
Mm-hmm.
Walk the plank, sir. That's funny.
He probably didn't even know it wasn't, like, a real thing.
He fully was like, everybody's walking the plank.
It's like go, walk the plank. And they're like, what?
Steve Bonnet cracks me up so much because just why? Everything, just why? He literally left his life. Like, he never returned to his life.
No.
Wow. Like,
No, he didn't. He was captured twice.
yeah.
And
Wow, he was really going through it then. Or he just, like, really needed out of there. Like, out of his marriage, out of his regular life.
Mm-hmm.
That's so wild. I love Steed.
I know.
The whole time, all I could picture was the show. I just pictured what you said, but, like, in the show's version of it.
I know, because isn't it so accurate to his life?
It is. And you know what? It did get renewed for season 2, and I hope they change the ending.
I know. I was just going to say, I'm scared for the second season because it doesn't look good for him.
No, if they're sticking true to the story, it's gonna be really sad.
They're not seeing each other ever again.
Yeah, that can't happen. Honestly.
No,
it can't happen. I'll be too upset.
When I was doing this research, sorry for anybody who hasn't seen the show, but like, if you have, you'll get this. When I was doing the research and it said that Blackbeard marooned his crew, like left his crew on an island, I was like, that part's real?
No, when you said that to me, I had to contain it, but I was like, wait, are you actually serious? Because I fully thought that was just for the show.
Me too. That's so funny. Like, what?
Can you imagine leaving people on a small island in the middle of the ocean just to die? Because, like, he had no idea Steve was going to come back and save them. Like, he fully had the intention, like, just these people are going to die on this island.
It's like, that's terrible, but also, like, that's so savage.
Like, that is so savage. So savage.
See, it's easy to laugh about these things because it's like, you're so far removed from, like, it actually happening as real people.
Yeah,
you know?
But it also is really not funny.
Yeah,
like,
because, like, that's awful.
It's so bad.
And just the fact that they're pirates in general, but, you know.
Yeah.
Also, though, I sort of get this vibe, too. What I'm about to say. That people back in the day of, like, piracy and stuff, when like, this was going on, the golden age of piracy, people who weren't pirates, a lot of them thought of them, like, I guess not the rich people, but a lot of them thought of pirates as, like, Robin Hoods. Like, they would steal from the rich and give to the poor. I mean, they were giving to themselves, but they're poor, so.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. That's interesting.
And honestly, I always thought about it that way, too. Like, they seem like not so bad because they're like, we're taking from capitalism.
Yeah, no, fully. Like,
but
I've always loved pirates, but, like, they didn't have to be that violent with it.
I know. I was going to say, like, the murders that really, like, makes it not as
that's,
good.
like, the bad part of it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they had to, or else they were going to get killed themselves, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
It's neither here nor there.
Very accurate. I love Steve. Now I want to go rewatch the show.
I know. I already did. I actually, I was rewatching it, but I stopped at, like, I didn't watch the last episode because I was like, I can't do that to myself.
No, you can't do it again now. Definitely go watch the show because it's so good. Mm-hmm. Also, I do apologize. I'm very confused because my neighbor seems to be mowing their lawn right now.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, I'm glad. I can just see, like, on the audio, but, like, I'm confused because it's completely pitch black dark outside.
That's
like,
weird.
Like, how are they mowing the grass? So sorry if you can hear a lawnmower. If you can't, great. If you can, sorry. I'm just confused. I'm like so weirded out. Like, can they see what they're doing? I don't think so.
They got night vision too.
To be fair though, I do have a lawnmower with lights, but it doesn't work that well.
Oh, well.
Like, it's still hard to see.
Maybe they were waiting till dark so it was cooler outside.
True, it is very hot.
Mm-hmm.
Very hot. But we love that. I love Steve Bonnet. Stan Steve Bonnet so much. And what's interesting is that actually, Savanah, our stories have a theme this week. An unintended theme. And that theme would be our favorite TV shows. Stories based off of our favorite TV shows, shall I say. God. So, today for you, I have the conspiracy theory of the Montauk Project. Dun, dun, dun. So, I mean, we've mentioned this, like, Montauk Project so many times on this podcast, but we've never actually covered the real story. So I was like, okay, let's do it because Stranger Things is based off of this conspiracy theory. And actually, the show was originally, when they first wrote it, it was called Montauk instead of Stranger Things.
Huh.
Which I did not know.
Yeah, I didn't know that
I was
either.
like, that's cool.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's very much so based on like what happened, and way more than I even thought. So yeah, I'm obsessed with Stranger Things at the time. I'm sure everyone listening also is. So
Are you going to start talking about a portal to another world?
well,
Actually, I'll just let you get into it.
yeah, I surely am going to.
Oh God.
So
What?
you're just not ready for this one, ladies, gentlemen, anyone else, buckle up, because this one's
God.
crazy.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so the Montauk Project is probably what it's like most well known by. That's like the government project name of it, but it's also known as like just the legend of Camp Hero, because that's like where it was. So it's in Montauk, New York at Camp Hero, which was an Air Force base.
Okay.
So, the Montauk Project is a conspiracy theory that alleges that there was like a series of U.S. government projects that went on at Camp Hero. In like in over a long span of time. So, Camp Hero opened in 1940, and it opened to be a wartime defense station. But here's the cool part. So it was like a wartime defense station. So like people, because it's like on the edge of New York. So like over the water, you can see anybody that's coming in and stuff. It was a good viewpoint. And so, but because it was so visible, they actually disguised it as a small fishing village at first, which is so interesting to me. Like it's a government base, but it just looks like a small fishing village. And also the fact that they did that, that's creepy. Because now I'm like, sus about any little village. Like, are they?
I mean, true. Like
real?
that just doesn't surprise me though.
It doesn't surprise me either. Not at all. Not at all.
They just be doing that stuff all the time. Like I just know it.
Right. We have no idea what's even going on at all around us with what the government is doing. So you may ask, what is going on with these projects? Like, what is the projects that they're doing? So the theory and like the legend around it says that the government was trying to develop psychological warfare techniques as well as research about time travel.
Okay.
And so specifically, they were using Nikola Tesla's discoveries to further his research. And so Nikola Tesla is going to have to be a whole other like topic one day.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things, but basically, to long story short, he invented time travel, or so they say. That he found a way to do it, and so I guess the government took his research and was trying to like go forward with it.
Okay.
So you kind of just have to believe this one as I'm telling you, because in the end we do find out like it is confirmed that some of this happened, some of it's not confirmed. But I still do believe that it all happened because, the government's very secretive. So just stay with me. We're going to get through this.
Okay.
So stories and this whole legend about this project have actually been circulating since the 1980s. And it seems to be that this like whole legend behind it originated with the account of two men named Preston Nichols and Al Bielek. So these two men both claim that they later in life, like in their like 20s, recovered some repressed memories of their own involvement in this project. So basically they say that they like lived their whole life, basic normal life, and then one day like went like just found a regressed memory in their head and remembered all the things that they had did secretly at this government facility.
That's so scary.
Yeah. So let's get into more about them. So Preston Nichols, one of the guys, also claims that he was periodically abducted by what he assumes to be aliens, to continue participation against his will with these projects.
What?
And I know that sounds so crazy, but
Right, because now we're bringing in aliens too.
oh, aliens are a big part of this too.
Oh my god. That's
This
crazy.
project has everything, every legend, every theory. And that's why, even though it is a conspiracy theory, it's very much so legends as well, because so much is going on. So, more about Preston. He was born on May 24th in 1946 on Long Island, and he has degrees in parapsychology, psychology, and electrical engineering. So, this man is very smart. And he went on to write a series of books that are known as the Montauk Project series. And he got a few other like men who had also came forward and like had repressed memories like resurface. And they all came together to write these book series about like what they could remember that went on. So let's get to the primary topic, the Montauk Projects. So the main ones that they talked about in the book are time travel, teleportation, mind control, contact with extraterrestrial life, staging the faked Apollo moon landings, and said that these developments, all that I just named, are what led to the successful 1943 Philadelphia experiment.
Oh my god. I was gonna say it sounds familiar.
Yes. So, if you did not know, Savanah covered this story, the Philadelphia experiment. If you want to listen to it, it's episode 66, and it bleeds right into this story.
Okay.
So, this is almost the part 2.
You know what else this
What?
reminds me of already?
What?
The Havana Syndrome
Yes.
that I covered.
Yes. And now, like, thinking back about all the stories we've covered, like, they could all be, like, from this. Not every single one, but, like, a lot of them. Because we've mentioned them as, like, a theory of that it was a part of this whole situation. But, like, it's just wild. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy that it is possible that these things are existing. Because these were things that the U.S. government were testing. So that even they believe that it could be possible. So, crazy. But, so, back to this book. So, Preston actually starts out the book. The first words are, quote, "Whether you read this as a science fiction novel or nonfiction, you are in for an amazing story." So, basically, they're like, believe us or not, we don't care. You're gonna, it's a crazy story, either way.
I mean, I would read it if it said something like that.
Right.
That's
right.
a good intro.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Camp Hero is also called the Montauk Air Force Base. But from here on out, I'm just going to call it Camp Hero. So at this camp, these two men claim that they worked together to make, the two men that wrote the book, Preston and Al, that they worked together to make what they call the Montauk Chair. Okay? So the Montauk Chair was a mind-reading device that apparently was like a very, very important component to this entire project. Like the whole project basically relied on this chair to work. Mm-hmm. And so this chair, Preston claims, uses electromagnetism to further the psychic powers of whoever sits in it. So basically the way it works is that you, need to have psychic powers already. Okay?
Okay.
Like whether that be like you're a medium, you can, I don't know, see the dead, I don't know, anything. Or like if you're like 11 and you can move things with your mind. Like you need to have some sort of psychic power for this chair to work. And, okay, so they claim that this chair, they would only use this chair to open portals through the space-time continuum. Okay?
Okay.
And that is where the Duffer Brothers got the idea for the Upside Down in Stranger Things. So.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Like that,
but,
so,
like, that's crazy. Like, it's crazy that they're literally saying that happened. So, like, there really could be an Upside Down. This whole story just had me so shook because I just, finished watching Stranger Things, so I'm very much so in that mindset. But to think that it could be real is so much more different. Like, so wild. So, they said even though they would, like, try to only open to one specific portal, that they were able to open a portal to any dimension, like, theoretically. Like any place
Okay.
in the space-time continuum they could go to using this chair.
That's crazy.
I know.
Like
I really
anywhere.
know. Like, wow. So, Preston and Al were the ones who wrote the book, but they also worked really closely with this man named Duncan Cameron, who was a psychic that was also a crew member, actually, of the Eldridge, which is the ship from the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
Duncan Cameron was like one of the main subjects to use the Montauk Chair, since he was already a psychic.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so he firsthand accounts in the book from Duncan himself. So I definitely recommend the book. I did not read it all, but I read some of it, and it's really, really wild. And no, I'm going to go ahead and say I do not believe every single thing that they say in this book.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think they juiced it up, but I do
Yes.
believe like there's definitely truth behind it. No doubt in my mind.
Some of it's probably just so out there. I can see them just putting stuff in there
Yeah.
to make
like,
it interesting.
Might as well. Yeah.
Especially with that disclaimer in the beginning.
I
They're
know.
like, it could be real, could be not. Just
Well,
make up your own
I
mind.
kind of took the beginning as like, this is the truth, but you can believe us or not. We don't really care. It's a crazy story either way.
Yeah.
But
No, that's what I take it as too, but still, like,
no, true though.
I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Okay. So back to this book. The first experiment, this is just direct quote. So the first experiment was called the Seeing Eye. And basically using a lock of a person's hair or any other item that belonged like specifically to one person, when he was sitting in the chair, Duncan could concentrate on that person and like concentrate on whatever thing that they were holding from that person and be able to see as if he was seeing through that person's eyes, hearing whatever that person was hearing and feeling whatever they were feeling in their body.
That's insane.
Um,
Okay, how
Yeah.
does this chair work though? Like, I don't understand.
So he said, I could not go into the science of it. They do explain it, but they
Yeah.
say it uses electromagnetism to further their powers that they already have in like their psychic powers. So,
I guess I can buy that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about magnets,
Yeah.
like about the science behind. I mean, I do
Honestly,
somewhat, but barely. You know,
I feel like we talk about magnets all the time and like electromagnetic waves
it
and
causes
stuff.
everything bad. You know what I'm
Like
saying?
it can do so much. Like it's so powerful that
Yes, like
I
it
don't
creates
know.
the what's it called? The Bermuda Triangle, the Alaskan
Yeah.
Bermuda Triangle.
It's just energy.
Yeah, like it's literally energy.
I need to
So-
read more about magnets.
Yeah, me too. Next week's topics: magnets, the
Pictures
legends
of
behind magnets.
Are we like Charlie Kelly from Always Sunny in
Literally,
Philadelphia?
literally, yes.
He said, there's like a quote from that show where he's like, or they ask him what his interests are. He says, magnets.
Magnets. That's us, except for we know nothing about magnets.
Yeah. Let's go ask him.
True. Let's bring out our guest, Charlie.
Yeah.
That's so funny. If only. So back to being able to literally throw yourself basically into another person's body. Basically using this chair, they were making it possible to remote view from anybody in the whole world, which is really a powerful weapon if you wanted to use it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
Could they control them too, or just see?
No, I think that they can just see, hear, and feel. I don't
Yeah.
think that they can control them.
Yeah.
So, and if we are believing this story to be true, which like I am, just for the sake of at least this, believe what I'm saying. That means that there could be people out there today who can do that. And there probably are.
Oh my gosh. They're watching us right now.
Yeah. They're like, stop talking about this, that people don't need to know.
Ah.
Yeah. So, okay. Moving on. Throughout the entire book, Preston makes the claim that if one thing is for sure, two things for certain happened at this camp, was the abduction of young children, and actually the youngest being 4 years old, to use as the subjects in these experiments.
Oh my gosh, so that is like 11 and her
yeah,
other
yeah, and this is true. So these
siblings.
underage subjects were known as the Montauk Boys, and they said that they were literally snatched off the streets, and some of them were even taken from inside of their homes. So I don't know,
That's
like, if they were, like, studying these kids to see, like, who were the smartest kids or whatever, like, what their process was to pick them out. But they just picked out a bunch of boys and took them. And I also don't know if they were all boys, but they were just called the Montauk Boys. So
they probably were.
they probably were
Sexist
in
back
this
then.
time. Yep, definitely. Definitely. And so these kids who were taken were apparently so psychologically broken down after being a part of these experiments that they completely forgot about their time at Camp Hero. And most of them just repressed it for the rest of their life, like to this day, like if they're still alive. Because, like, apparently it was just very, very, very traumatic. So they were able to move on and, like, continue with life, just not even knowing what happened to them.
Okay, but all right. So they were taken. Were their families not looking for them? Were they not like
No, they
kidnapped?
totally were looking for them. But, like, do you know how many? I don't know if you know this, but, like, tons and tons of not only children, but people in general, adults, teenagers, any age, were getting taken in the 60s, 70s, and 80s for so many reasons. Like, people were disappearing all over the place.
Well, yeah. Well, part of the reason I'm asking that though is like, wouldn't their families sort of remind them, "Oh yeah, you were literally kidnapped."
True, but
You know?
here, what I'm saying is that I don't think that they went back to their normal lives. I feel like they
Oh.
gave them like a witness protection type deal, gave them new names, new lives. Like,
Oh
if
my
they can really wipe their memories like that and do all of this, they can like make them think that they're other people, so that
Okay,
they
I
would just
thought
never remember anything. You
yeah.
know, like that's what I think. Like a full reset is
Yeah.
happening.
That would make sense because yeah, like if they did go back to their families, they'd be like, "What happened to you?" You know?
Exactly, and they could never do that because then they'd have to just kill everybody
Yeah.
that knew. So, this one man named Stuart Swerdlow claims that through therapy, he actually recovered some of these traumatic childhood memories, similar to Preston, Duncan, and Al. And so, when he had heard about this legend, he was like, I got to talk to these people. And so, he said that he was one of these, like, quote unquote, Montauk boys. And he just described, he was like, what you described was everything that I experienced, just so much horrific abuse. And so this is a direct quote from him. He said, when the experiments started, they would target expendable boys, like orphans, runaways, or the children of drug addicts. So that actually answers your question there.
Yeah.
So the kind of kids that no one would really come looking for. The aim was to fracture your mind so that they could reprogram you. They would change the temperature from very hot to very cold in like rapidly all the time, starve you, and then completely overfeed you. I remember being beaten with a wooden pole, and they loved to hold your head underwater until you nearly drowned. That was really effective. It makes a person likely to listen to and obey their quote-unquote rescuer. And they also used LSD to put our brains into an altered state.
See, it's so bad, but like I do believe this this definitely happened.
Fully. There's no doubt in my mind that any of that happened. No, none. Zero.
Like that's so
That is so bad,
awful.
and that is so messed up. And it would be messed up if it was anybody of any age, but it's so messed up that these were like literal teenage boys.
Yeah.
Oh, it sickens me. So he went on to talk about how some of the boys were also sexually abused, and for punishments, depending on what they did to get in trouble, sometimes, this is gonna sound really insane, okay, but you're just gonna have to follow me.
Okay.
But for the times that they got into a lot of trouble, sometimes they were sent back in history, back to the future, back to the past, actually, to times such as biblical times, or just like really horrific times to live in. And that was the punishment. That they would be just sent back. Because, they discovered time travel. That's what they're saying. Like, in all of this, they discovered time travel and teleportation. So that for punishment, when these boys would like try to escape or try to do something bad, they would send them back in time and leave them there. Can you imagine how scary that would be?
Yeah, I can. That's, I
Like,
just can't fathom.
no. Because, I mean, and if they don't come back and get you, you're stuck there. And that's what he goes on to say happened, that countless boys, like his friends, that because obviously they made friends with each other being in there, being locked in there. And so
Yeah.
he said countless of his friends were lost forever because of this. Like they just stayed in like biblical times and that's where they had to live out the rest of their life. So, like, if that's true, that is genuinely my nightmare. Because
Yeah.
not survive that.
Yeah,
He
because, like, that, I don't know.
right. Like,
Living
what do
in
you
any other
do?
time, like, right now, like, we have cell phones and all this stuff. Like, I can't live without that.
Right,
And, like,
right,
air conditioning.
right.
Like, come
Like,
on.
back to the air conditioning. Can't do that.
They probably didn't have the same language, really. Like,
No,
similar, but,
no, and
like,
also like imagine, and he's probably wearing clothes that they have no idea what he's wearing. Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh, then they're probably like, who are you? We're gonna attack you.
right, and they might have like killed them immediately, like
Yeah.
thinking they were some kind of like predator. I don't know. That like that's awful. Like that's seriously awful. Um, but so this man, he lastly said that they would bring you so close to a point of death that you really truly thought that it was the very end. Like he said that he felt as if he was so close to death so many times, but then at the very last moment they would bring you back to life. And then once you were awake, they would gaslight you and be like, "Well, we saved you, so now you owe us." And that would like get them to stay.
Oh my god, what?
It's so messed up. It's so dark. It is so dark.
That.
So, moving on from that really dark stuff, it's not really going to get lighter, but maybe a little. So, the overall project, the Montauk Project, actually had a bunch of little sub projects to it, and one of them was Project MK Ultra, which we have talked about so many times on here. A quick little recap for those of you who don't know. It's like a specific part of the Montauk Project where they were testing the use of LSD, mostly on adults, and just to see if they could control their mind. And that ended up really hurting them in the end. And what's also really messed up is that even though they didn't care about these children, because, you know, they were like, they're never going to know they're gone or whatever. But these adults, they were like, we can't just do experiments on adults. Like, they're going to tell somebody, you know? So they
Yeah.
would go and try to find, like, people who were at disadvantages, who needed money, who didn't have anything to give their consent. Because, like, if you don't have anything and somebody's offering you, like, shelter, clothes, whatever, food, whatever you need, like, obviously you're going to be like, yes, I'll do whatever you want me to do. So they would have their consent to do these experiments, like with the LSD, but then, like, once they realized they didn't want to be a part of it anymore, they wouldn't let them go.
Yeah, that's awful.
And so then they just kept using the drugs until they broke all of their minds. And it literally hurt these people for the rest of their lives. Some of them were completely, like, never okay again from the drugs. Some of them, I mean, who even knows? Some of them don't even remember being a part of it at all. But, like, it's proven, like, they did come out and say, like, yeah, we did do Project MK Ultra. We did do the Montauk Project, but they didn't specify on any specific things that they did. So that's a little sus.
Yeah.
But all of these projects and experiments finally came to an end in 1981, and Preston claims that the reason that they stopped these experiments, and it was a very abrupt stop in 1981, and he said that this was because they finally took things way too far.
Okay, they were already taking it pretty far.
Obviously. But they were something bad's coming if I'm saying they took it too far after everything I've already said.
Yeah.
So we're going back to the Montauk Chair, okay? So they say when you're hooked into the chair with all, like, the wires, like just like Stranger Things in 11, like when they hook the thing to her head and she's all connected, they were actually able to connect their brain up to a television screen so that they could see, like, what that person was envisioning through their remote viewing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
which is really crazy to comprehend. Like, I don't think in at least the world that I'm aware of that that's possible, but I'm sure it is possible. So yeah, so
Okay.
basically they could
So they're
see.
saying it worked?
Yeah. Yeah, they're saying it worked. Fully it worked. Like, I mean, it worked from the beginning. Yeah. Like that you could always see what like was happening. Through
Okay.
the whoever they were looking through's eyes. You know what I'm saying?
That's just insane to me. Like, how are you
No,
going
I
to
know.
transfer it to a TV?
I know. I don't. I mean, I'm
What?
assuming it has to do science time with like the neurons and the electricity in your brain
Yeah.
sending things via neurons through like this helmet. With science, like it does make sense
Okay.
that it's possible, but it is mind blowing.
Yeah. Well, like, side note though, like, in the future, like, 20 years from now, they're gonna end up having something like that. Oh, you can project your brain
Oh, they're
to the
just simply, it's
TV.
going to be Snapchat memories, but with your eyes. Like, there's literally a Black
Right?
Mirror episode about this.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
It's gonna be real, and people are gonna listen back to this and be like, you
they
guys are
were right.
stupid.
They're going to be like, these crazy conspiracy theorist podcasts were right all those years ago. That's exactly
Yeah.
what they're going to say. Okay, so, I lost my spot. Okay, so basically, you can see on the TV what the person who is remote viewing is seeing. Okay? And so, Duncan was sitting in the chair doing his daily experiment or whatever when all of a sudden he whispered, "The time is now." Oh, I definitely missed a bullet. Let me
Oh,
rewind.
okay.
Okay. Apparently, after so much time had passed and all of this abuse had gone on, a bunch of the subjects got together and decided that they were done with this and that they had to get out. Okay? So then, that's when Duncan goes for his little daily experiment. And he's sitting in the chair, he gets all strapped in. Then he whispers, "The time is now." And it was at that moment, okay, that he let loose a monster from this other realm that they were talking about from his subconscious brain onto the TV. And so they were looking at the TV and there was a monster. And they were like, "What is he doing?" Okay. And the men describe it like the TV screen. It was showing a really big, hairy monster. And they describe it as absolutely huge, angry, and very hungry. And here's the craziest part. The monster did not only come through on the TV screen, it actually showed up on the base and started eating anything and everything it could. And for the things that it couldn't eat, like metal or, other things, it smashed to pieces.
Oh my god.
Okay, I know this sounds
Wait,
crazy.
what? Where did this come from?
New York, I don't know what to tell you. What's super interesting is that several people have came forward and claimed to see this monster that day, like people who just worked in the lab. But every single one of them describe a different looking beast. So that leads me to believe, like, A, is it a lie? But B, was it projecting? Like, was he using his powers, his psychic powers, to project monsters, like, to anybody who was seeing them? Like, was the monster really there?
Right, like, what if he was just controlling their brains?
Exactly. Because
And
that's what they
saying,
had been
"Oh, there's a
training them
monster."
to do.
Uh-huh.
So it's not that far off that could happen. However, Preston goes on to say that apparently these monsters were real because in order to, like, remove this creature from our dimension and get it back to its own, that they had to destroy the whole lab. And they just had to use all of their equipment and destroy it, like, all, because of how much power it took to get it back to its dimension.
And this kid just did it with no problem.
Well, they all did it together as a group.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
But, like,
well,
yeah,
they did it with, like...
he was the one that started it. But yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So once this happened, this is picking up of where they'll admit to what was happening, okay? They don't admit to any of that, obviously. But they're like, after that, one day in 1981, the basement levels of Camp Hero were cemented And everyone involved with this project had their memories suppressed using the techniques that they learned with MK Ultra and using LSD. They decommissioned Camp Hero immediately. And today, it still sits there in Montauk, New York. And you can visit it because it's literally a state park.
A state park?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm. But its last known working year was 1984, so it gives this very creepy abandoned vibe to it. And so I'm gonna send you pictures to look at of this place, of what it looks like today. So you can walk around the area, but you are not allowed to go in any of the buildings whatsoever. You are not allowed. And also, as I said, it's like allegedly concreted up, like all the lower levels of it. Mm-hmm. So like you couldn't really get down there anyway. But there are buildings that you could probably get into, but they are heavily secured, heavily boarded up. Like it's not, I don't know if it's possible. And I'm like, okay, what are you hiding in there? You know?
Right, like...
Right, like aren't the pictures weird? Definitely go to Instagram to see the pictures. They'll be up there.
I mean, I think any government thing that was like sort of abandoned has stuff like this.
For sure.
It doesn't surprise me, but like I want to see.
That's what I'm saying though. I'm just like, if there's nothing to hide, why can't we see?
I mean, true, but also I've been to state parks where they were like this base. There's a state park in Delaware that I used to go camping at every year, and it was by the beach in Delaware, Cape Henlopen, and it had like lookout towers. Mm-hmm. There was like one you could actually go inside, but a lot of them were boarded up. And then there's also a base or like a building or two, like a few buildings that were blocked, like you can't get in them. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I feel like it's just like that. It's not that suspicious.
It's definitely not that suspicious, but what is suspicious is that they cemented it from the bottom level.
Yeah.
That's weird, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
That's really weird. Like, what if we needed that in the future? Like, if there was a bomb.
Or what if there's like, the reason they did it is because there's a portal down there and they had to close it.
Exactly. Or like they actually didn't kill the monster. It's just still down there. Frozen in the cement.
He's going to get out someday.
Right. So, anyway, this story has become a very, 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 very popular legend and conspiracy. And the locals actually that live around it aren't too sure about like the time travel and like the interdimensional monsters that they talk about. But they're also not entirely convinced that like everything they were doing in the 70s was good at this place. They said that they would hear a lot of weird stuff going on and just like very suspicious vibes all the time. And so they're like, there definitely weren't good things going on there, but I just don't know about the monster part of it all. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I think
I kind of agree.
Yeah, me too.
But
I
also,
think the experimenting on kids, like, I feel like they definitely did that.
They definitely did that.
And
that's no question. That's no question to me. But let's see here. I lost my spot again. Okay, so one really, really important project that also came from this. What's it called? Oh, the Montauk Project. Was called Project Stargate, and that began in 1978, and it was recently declassified, which means that we can read what the project was and like what they were looking for and, you know, just everything about it. And the US government actually confirms that its purpose was to use physics to determine if someone could perform remote viewing or see from great distances. And so that's the most recent declassified document to be connected to the Montauk Project. So they did literally confirm that they were trying to use physics to see if somebody could remote view. So that part is confirmed. So
yeah,
like, and I understood that going into it, but just like knowing that that is real and that they did it.
I don't know. I feel like, so they confirmed they tried, but not that they actually did it, right?
Well, obviously some of it's still redacted, so we can't read like every single thing. But they neither confirm or deny. So they just said that was the purpose. They said nothing about the conclusion. They said only the hypothesis is a given. So, but in my mind, honestly, I do believe it. And, you know, I do also want it to be true because that is cool. But I also don't because, like, I don't want to be mind controlled. But they also are already mind controlling us, like, as much as they can.
Yeah.
But then even if you look at it, like, obviously they were doing this because, like, the ability to remote view somebody, like, they wanted to be able to spy on other countries. Like, it's really that simple. They wanted to control minds, spy on other countries, like, be the top. And it's still that way. So, like, it wouldn't even surprise me if this kind of stuff is still going on to this day, you know, secretly. It really
I mean,
wouldn't.
how much money goes into the military?
Exactly. Like, what is it for, babe?
Exactly.
Monsters?
What are you using trillions of dollars for? This.
Exactly. So I'll go ahead and describe the pictures though for you that I showed Savanah. One of them, it just shows up the main lab building, and it's literally straight out of Stranger Things. They like the rendition from the real picture to Stranger Things is almost identical. It's just this huge building with this ginormous satellite that's like almost bigger than the building on the top of the building. So I'm like, babe, what do you need that satellite for? Who are you talking to?
Right.
They said the aliens. But yeah, so let's see here. One thing I do know for certain is that this story gives me the heebie-jeebies. And I would love to break into that building. I'm not going to. Maybe. Legally on this podcast, I have to say I'm not going to. And I also wouldn't do that, but I do want to see inside of it. So badly. So badly. But honestly, I think that we should go to New York and just see it. Just in general, see it. To be on the property, like, that would be so wild. But
yeah, I mean, that would be crazy because it's like you said, it's a park, so like
like it's like a walking trail. You can see, you know, like the historic plaques or whatever you can read and stuff. So yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. But yeah, that is basically a very overall conspiracy theory of the Montauk Project. And I do have to say, it was so hard to find research on this online. Like, so hard. Like, it was buried deep. So that also susses me out a little bit, like, thinking that it's real. Like, because I thought this was, like, a huge conspiracy theory that was, like, heavily studied, like, heavily, like, available to the public to just read. But no, absolutely not. So that's also weird. But yeah. So there you have it. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I already said, like, I think they did do the experiments on the kids and stuff. I don't know. It's just too, like, I want this stuff to be real because it's kind of cool. But, like, it's too out there for me to believe that they invented time travel and remote viewing. But, like, maybe they did. I don't know. It's just
I feel like they did.
Too much for me to handle.
It's so much. It really is.
And the fact that nobody's uncovered that yet, if that actually happened, you know?
I mean, but did they though? Because I have to imagine I'm sure somebody has, like, you know, came up and been like, found some kind of proof that they've done this, right? But I'm sure the government would threaten your entire family to keep quiet. Like, they would have to keep quiet. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, listen, I've always said, like, if I ever find out any secrets, I'll tell, because I'm a whistleblower, baby. I'm not holding no secret. However, if somebody was threatening my friends or family, that might be a little different. Or threatening me to, like, throw me in a dimension with a monster. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, honestly, it's, like, not worth it.
No, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe the people who have found the evidence, like, just can't talk about it or are gone. I don't know.
Yeah, but what about, like, other governments?
Well,
why don't they know about it?
Yeah, okay, so there's a lot more on other governments. That was the whole thing I could not get into just because of how long the story already was getting into. Literally, in Russia, the same stuff happened, okay? The same exact stuff, and there was this girl named Nina, not Dobrev, that's from the Vampire Diaries. Another woman, a Russian woman named Nina, basically was a psychic, and it's literally the same exact thing, the same exact story, the same exact studies, the same exact experiments. So it was happening all over the world, secretly. And obviously this all is all alleged, you know, they haven't said like, oh yes, we have discovered time travel and we did, you know, do all this. But yeah. I just didn't get, I had to focus on the US, but there many other countries have the same exact thing. So
okay,
that makes it a little bit more believable as well.
That's just enough for me for today.
Savanah said, all right, we signing off. No, I know. It's crazy. It is super wild. Sorry for all that, but it was just so interesting to me. I was like, I didn't realize how accurate, like, based off the theories, Stranger Things really was.
Yeah.
Just like Steve Bonnet. Like, I didn't realize how accurate his story was either to the show.
Uh-huh. Especially the first season of Stranger Things, because I'm watching it again.
Yeah.
To get the details, you know.
Of course.
Because
I
I watched this first season like years ago when it came out, and now I'm like trying to remember it all. But that first season definitely has a lot to do with this project.
Totally.
You know?
Totally.
Because I saw the remote viewing is part of it.
Yeah.
And
remote viewing is most of the show. Like that's Eleven's power. Is when she blindfolds herself and she can remote view people.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that though. She didn't really do it much in the most recent season.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's her power. So it's crazy. It's crazy, man. That's that on that. Government, please don't come for me. I'm just simply talking.
We said alleged.
Yeah, it's alleged. Even though I'm there. Just kidding. Not. I don't care. Come after me. If you come after me, then we'll know the truth.
Right.
But definitely go check out our Instagram. You're going to want to see the pictures. This place looks so creepy. Like, it seriously looks so creepy. And I'm trying to see pictures of Steve Bonnet, too. There's probably paintings.
Yeah, I mean, it's not pictures since it was so far back. It's like renditions, you know? Like drawings of him.
We need a good rendition of Steed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love Steed. But that's really all I have for you guys this week. What about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Okay, well, see you guys next week.
Okay, cue the music.